What's up, guys? Hope you're listening. So, I'm going to be talking tonight about how to stay bold, right? In the presence of the unknown, of difficult times, challenging times, right? But at the same time, not losing composure, right? Because it's easy. It's easy just to snap, right? At something, at some idea that we disagree, right? And I understand, we all understand, right? We have emotions, anger, you know, and sometimes we disagree with data or facts that we can prove that why we disagree strongly with something, right? But these sophisticated times where people around us, right, teachers, politicians, law enforcement, family members, co-workers, anybody, people are trained now these days to be non-emotional, right? Like, this is one of the things it took me years to understand, that having emotions is just a natural thing, just as breathing, right? Eating, sleeping. But having our emotions dragging us left and right only created more consequences and more repercussions that were not benefit for me, right? So the topic of today is how to be bold and don't lose composure, right? So basically, it is good to stand for something that is right. I've proved this along my years in many places that I've been with different people, different background. That is always good to have your own truth, your own opinion about something, but there's a way to give it out. There's an appropriate body language, tone of voice that we have to use, even though we know that we hold the truth and whatever is in front of us doesn't deserve the truth. We still cannot lose composure, right? And if I have to choose composure between both, I will choose composure, bro. Because sometimes you can have fear, be scared, but if you can manage yourself and not get all crazy and panic, I think that takes you to another level, right? Hey, hi, what's up? After a queen, hello. I have to go to bed. Have a good night. Okay, have a good night. And yeah, so be bold goes hand in hand with not losing composure, right? Because almost anybody can be like confident, courageous, and speak out their truth, right? Speak your mind, and that's okay. That's the first step. But we need to understand that it goes hand in hand with not losing composure. So when somebody we're facing very different times, right? We're facing times of political movement, war, lack of education, jobs, whatever it is, right? We don't have to go to the details. We all know what it is, right? But at the end of the day, shouting, screaming, jumping around, throwing rocks, crying, it's not gonna help us in the long run, right? So once we see what's happening, not what we're being told. That's very different things. You just cannot just watch a video or watch the news or listen to somebody, oh, this is what's happening, and then you just lose composure right away. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that you don't have to to live in denial, but you have to listen to people, right? So where does this come into play to be bold, right? To be bold is to know that things are not going your way, and the influence that you have against that environment is that you're not easy to be moved, right? High cost of living is my real concern. Yeah, it's everybody. Everybody is trying to make money of everybody, and this is why I make certain comments that oh, because he's doing it, now I'm going to do it. Uh no, you know, not necessarily. But one of the things I've learned, because I've been in difficult places, right? Like right now, people are suffering from cost of living, war, education, rent, mortgages, divorces, whatever. But at the end of the day, guys, we are our own individual, right? The only way we can influence our environment and the people around us is when we don't lose composure. And it's so difficult. It's so difficult, but not impossible. Okay, it's so difficult, especially when they say uh, certain people are killing children, certain people are doing this, certain people will get emotional. Okay, and it just takes a second to take us out of our way, to take us out of our strong thought. That's why to lose composure goes with your breathing techniques, right? Once you focus on your breathing, right? Don't focus on what's happening out there. Focus on how you're breathing. And second, what's happening out there. Okay. It's not let me go out there and see what's happening and then I focus on my breathing. No. First, if you're going to go out there, wherever you're at, you're going to work, you're going to war, you're going to training, to school, you need to know that when you go to the streets, when you're going to go down the road, observation comes second. Your observation of how you're breathing is first. And just by default, your observation is going to be acute, it's going to be keen, it's going to be very powerful because you're paying attention how you're breathing. But at the end of the day, to lose composure is just lack of breathing. Just remember when you got mad last time, when you got angry, sad, right? Emotional, it's your breathing. It's out of rhythm. That's all it is. And to bring yourself back to that rhythm is to focus on how you're breathing. Okay. It takes time, but it's possible. You'll be amazed how much things you can master by mastering your breathing. They can tell you somebody's getting killed over there, somebody's over there, and your composure is like, let me go check. Okay. Because you're breathing. You need to know that awareness is the capability to know that anything can happen. Okay. So once you know, once you're aware that we're on a planet where anything can happen, it's not negative or positive. This is life. Okay. There's tension everywhere. There's opinions everywhere. Okay. There's disagreement everywhere. So there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do about it is to focus how you're gonna breathe it out or in that situation. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's gonna be combative. It doesn't matter if it's gonna be aggressive. You still need to pay attention how you're breathing, right? Because otherwise you will be lost and confused in something that you don't even know what got you there in the first place. Right? There's a lot of going on in the world. There's always been, but because now we have media, because now we have internet from the last 20 years, something like that. Now it's more easy to find out what's happening overseas. Okay, what's happening in the neighborhood, right? But yeah, I would take a little bit more that it's happening more rapidly, okay? Because the more sophisticated technology becomes, the more sophisticated war, okay, or politics becomes, okay? So like everything goes up and it takes everything with them too. When something goes down, it takes a lot of things go down too. It's just like a natural cycle, right? Where are you, my manners, my Jason? Nice to meet you. Hi, Alex. What's up? Thank you guys for the support. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a multimillionaire, but I still work, and I feel like it's not enough. I'm multimillionaire, okay, but I still work, and I feel like it's not enough. Well, I mean, that's okay. If that makes you feel fulfilled. That makes you. I don't want to use the word happy, but you feel fulfilled. That's the word. You feel full, right? That you have purpose. I don't see nothing wrong. I don't see nothing wrong if you guys have a lot of money and you guys say there's not enough. That's okay. It's a way of generating more money, and everybody has their own personal goals, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, and at the same time, it's good because just like the word crisis, right? There's in other countries that they took the word crisis like a problem, they replaced it with it's an opportunity, and that's okay. It's okay. Like a lot of people in war, it's time for money. Okay, when people are losing something, people are winning something, and that's just the law. That's just the law of the lever. The lever goes down because it's pulling something up. Okay, when you tilt it down and up, it just goes all the way. It's kind of like a swing. You know, you know, and it's just like it's one of the laws that we cannot ignore or panic. So that's the whole video for today that I want to talk about. That losing composure doesn't benefit nobody, right? And we all been there, right? And it's so complicated to how to master your body, right? And like I said it before, like many people, many masters, UFC fighters, MMA fighters, martial arts, your gym teacher, your mentor, your big brother, your parent, whoever. Breathing is the essential, the crucial step to master your body, okay? Your body language, okay? What you want to exude, okay? Because at the end of the day, guys, we go out there, we don't know what's going to happen, okay? If we lose, we win. Mhm. At the end of the day, what are we going to do about it? That's the whole point. Mhm. You can win, okay, but then what? After a few years, you may lose. Right? You lose right now, you win later. So the thing is about how are we responding to successes and to failures? Okay, if they're both, they're both on the same coin, just different sides of the coin, right? But yeah, I cannot disagree that yeah, the word's crazy. I think it's been crazy since the beginning of time. We just don't remember because But at the end of the day, how can we succeed when we have bullets and rockets and earthquakes and tsunamis and war? How can we still succeed and live and have more than hope to survive and to tell the stories how we did it? Okay, is to understand, to master the art of not losing composure, and it has to do with the breathing that you have on a daily basis, guys. And this takes us to introspection. So because this is just like one thing leads to another, and this is how it goes. One thing leads to another, and sometimes people say, okay, you're all over the place. No, everything's connected, right? That's why conversation will always lead to something else, to enlightenment, right? To success, mhm, to failure, to interpretations. So conversations, they always have this percentage to be misunderstood and taken out of context. But that doesn't mean people cannot talk about it at the end of the day, right? There was this coworker was talking to me and say like, because he saw that I was reading the Constitution, and he said, "Man, throw that away. That has been perverted." Yeah, I agree. It's been perverted, but throwing it away, it's not gonna make it any better, right? Reading it, at least I can have a ground where these politicians or where these people, lawmakers, have been failing, right? It's just like the Bible, like the Quran, any religion book. It's always that interpretation, guys. Mhm. And who better than me, who's been incarcerated for many years, and the federal courts, it's run by human beings and by laws made by men. Mhm. And how many times we see after 20, 30 years, he was found not guilty, right? But then you had to deal with all these years because at the end of the day, interpretation, it's dangerous. It is dangerous, right? Because interpretation is what an individual thinks at that moment, what's his understanding of what's happening in front of him, and nobody can convince him otherwise, regardless if he has proof of something else or information that he can compare for the decision that he has to make. Interpretations are dangerous, brother. Interpretations are dangerous, but it's just the way it is, and this is the window that we have to fight back in a way that is still precise and effective because it's without emotions. Okay, it's something that it might sound confusion, but it's not. Okay, guys, what if I tell you that if you wake up every time and before you brush your teeth, you count at least 10 breaths, okay? So you can program yourself that I woke up. The first thing you do, breathe 10 times and then take off the day. All right? Do it. Do it. Create that habit. It's gonna bring you clarity. It's gonna bring you confidence. It's gonna bring you this this sense of conquering something. Okay? And even if it's war in front of you, buildings are coming down, crumbling down, everything's going off, you will have a strategy to how to make that situation better. Okay. But everything starts with us, guys. Everything starts with us. Okay. But that's vague. Okay, Alex, everything starts with us. Yes, I believe in teamwork, but every team has an individual. We see it on sports, we see it everywhere. Okay. Everybody has their positions. So, what's my position as an individual? My body and my mind. I'm responsible for my body and my mind. Okay. If I'm not responsible for my mind and my mind, I cannot be responsible for my family. Okay. I cannot even be responsible to fight the courts in the legal procedure if I don't even know myself, if I don't even know that I have a brain and a physical body. Okay. Because if we don't do that, we are victim. We will become victims of our emotions. Okay. Emotions, there's nothing bad about emotions actually, right? But the thing is that when we become too emotional, it just fogs our decision making. Okay. Because there's a perfect amount of emotion that every single individual in this earth needs, whatever gender it is, male, female, whatever. We need this amount of emotion because that pushes us, inspire us to do something about something. Okay. The thing is that when we don't know how to control the emotions, bring that emotion back to our body and not let it out, to scream out what it's feeling. Okay. And I think breathing has helped me, many people, right? Matter of fact, a lot of people who are being trained to go to NASA, a lot of people who are being trained to high levels of military. A lot of times, CIA they put them in rooms with no air. Right? Actually, I heard this very from a guy when I was incarcerated, and he was I think he was lieutenant. He was part of some military overseas. So one of his challenges he had to go through. So they put him in a room with no air, kind of like a wagon or something. So he had amount of time, but they told him there's a switch. Okay, you need to find it. But the thing, it was dark. He said, Alex, I couldn't see anything. Okay, but they guarantee you there's a switch. Okay, there's a switch, and they tell you they have people made it. Okay, you have certain amount of time, you gonna make it. So what's the thing? What's the catch? It's about not losing composure, not to panic, right? So that tells you that breathing automatically puts you in a panic position. And when you master your breathing, panic cannot control you. Okay. By default, it exposes it out. Okay. It takes it out, it kicks it out. It cannot do it because when you breathe, panic cannot take over because panic can only take over when you don't where you're not breathing right. Okay, so I think that was a very good story, man. I remember this guy telling me that. It was crazy though. He said like it took me a lot of times to find that little switch when like boom, that a window opened, something, the roof opened or something. But yeah, he said it was kind of like a wagon. It was dark as fuck, and it was crazy. But it teaches you that how breathing brings the good or the bad out of you, right? Because automatically you want to live. You out of breath, you're dead, right? So you can exercise yourself with breathing. You can literally have a brush with death, right? You practice breathing back and forth. You can tune in into your real self, guys, right? And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I've been victim of this to panic about something that is not even real. All right, we've been seeing pranks on shows when they're like pranking somebody, and you can see them. They're just like, oh my god, they're scared as fuck, and they're doing goofy stuff because they're believing what's going on. And this is what I said. Like that's why I admire certain people who are in paramedics, right? Because they see blood on a daily basis, and they get to the point that they just see you as you'll be okay. I'm going to do my best. And we don't have to be paramedics, right? But we can learn from them that, and from doctors too. We can learn that they see blood, they see humans with broken bones and so many things that it becomes normal to them. Okay. And a lot of times they're not the big guys with six packs or muscle guys who are benching 315. They're not, right? They're not. So this is what I understood that strength is not only physical, but mental, right? And yeah, guys, I was just trying to share with you guys. What's up? What can we do? There's always going to do something. We just have to learn to adapt to the times. Well, I don't know about adapting. That's true. My breathing, it's the only thing that gets me through those voices that tell me to give up and quit. There you go, guys. There you go. There you go. So when you breathe, you tap to your real self. And even if you hear yourself saying, tap out, right? Just quit, right? It doesn't matter because everybody has their own body. I'm not in your shoes, guys. Okay? Just because you walk from something, it doesn't make you a quitter. All right? It's just it was not fitting you no more. Okay? You have to grow. You have to go to another level. You have to go to another job, another path. Okay? This path is not the same for everybody. Okay? We share the same stories, right? Similar stories, but you have to walk that story. Okay, you have your own body. I have my own body and brain. Okay, but yeah, guys, I know it sounds like too cheesy or cliche to say they breathing. We all heard it. Yeah, we hear it every day. But for us to practice this on a daily basis, you need a lot of discipline, my boy, a lot of intention to get to know that breathing can give you that divine power that only the gods have, right? Just imagine the gods. Any god that you think, Odin, whatever, Thor, any Elohim, I don't know, I don't care. I don't want to get into religion right now. But just imagine any god that is watching the earth doing what they're doing and how they have the calm reaction to respond in a manner that it takes time, years for the gods to do something to humanity, right? It's just an analogy, right? Because they have developed patience. I never understood patience. I'm gonna wrap it up with this one. So have you heard people say you have to be patient, you have to be patient? And it just bothers me because sometimes I think it's just an excuse for you just to be sitting down for waiting for something that's never gonna come. So I took a lot of years actually. Like, is it really thing about being patient, or sometimes can be taken out of context and you just gave up, or it's just an excuse for you to not take action, right? So it was crazy. So my conclusion about being impatient is because you're not so obsessed with yourself, with your breathing, and you are so obsessed with the outer world that you want things to happen quickly, right? But when you are so in love, obsessed, I would say, addictive, if you want to say, with yourself, with your life, okay? I think patience comes by default because I've been analyzing my life when I was being impatient is because I was waiting for a result out there. I was waiting for a final decision. I was waiting for a yes or a no. I was waiting for a letter. I was waiting for a phone call. It was not until I was, how to self-sufficient in a certain way. I was so obsessed with myself to the extent that people got bothered. Like, bro, you just like looking at the mirror all the time, and you just like talking to yourself, thinking to yourself. It is better, right? It is better than to waiting for an answer that you don't know when it's gonna come. And when it comes, people say, "Oh, thank you for being patient," and you're like, "I didn't even know I was being patient," right? Yeah, but because we were wrapped up with ourselves. We were obsessed with ourselves. But how can you be obsessed? How can you be so in love with yourself if you don't know that you have one of the most magnificent organs that not even a computer or a robot has? It's called a brain, right? A brain and a body, with organs. We can breathe. We're alive. Mm. And this automatically by default help you make better decisions. And I know a lot of people say, no, this is not real. It is real. It is real. It took me like 10 years. I didn't believe all this is just like gay stuff. How to breathe. Get the fuck out of here. Like, no, somehow how to breathe. And then, nope, it was true. It was true. Mm. How to breathe. Hmm. And then it will take you to meditation. Then you guys give it your own twist, right? I'm just talking about breathing because breathing brings you back to your natural state of mind. Okay. When you lose composure, remember when you're getting angry, when you lose composure, when you just snap, right? When you just want to scream, this is injustice, this is not fair. Remember, you're losing composure. There are other ways to take action, right? There are other ways to take action. Mhm. But it cannot happen with losing composure. It cannot happen. It cannot happen. Right? If you're out of breath, that means you're dying, my friends. Okay. That's why when you keep breathing and you have a rhythm, right? Bad things are gonna happen all the time. All the time. Okay. Evil things are gonna be always here. They're always gonna be happening all the time. Okay. We're not responsible for that. And if you want to fight evil, you first need to know how to breathe, my brother. Right? I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Good night. Be bold. All right, but don't lose composure. Right? Remember that.